Thank you so much, my friend. You have been amazing in helping me stay organized with this. And I want to actually thank you for asking me to speak on the day that we get an extra hour of sleep here in the US. I appreciate that. Anyone who knows my morning person status knows how important that is. My name is Robi S. I'm an alcoholic. And I chose those readings. I went through the online As Bill Sees It because I moved 11 months ago, and you would think that that would mean that I'm unpacked, but I am not. But I have a bookshelf coming in January, so my books will be unpacked. It has been a process. I want to tell you about today. I want to tell you about yesterday. I want to tell you about what it was like. I want to tell you about how I live today. I want to tell you that I am wearing a new sweater right now. Literally, this came last night in the mail. The tags are still on because I thought it's not the summer. I don't need to sit here in my workout clothes. I could look appropriate. That might not be important. That might not be a big deal to anybody. But my father passed away a year ago. And on the Jewish calendar, that was October 27th. But on the English calendar, the date is tomorrow. And in Judaism, you don't wear new clothes when your parents die for a year. And those things are very important to me, those practices. And so I haven't worn new clothes. So anytime I bought something new, I had somebody wear it for me. So I really haven't bought something new because if they wear it, it's old. So I'm wearing a sweater today that nobody else had to wear. And for some reason, that feels really big. And I also want to tell you that a year ago on this Sunday, which was November 8th, I got a phone call that he had left the world. And because of this program, because of the program of Alcoholics Anonymous, because of you people, because of my personality of wanting to know who I am and what life is about, I had made amends with that man in 1993, and I had a relationship with him that was beautiful. It wasn't perfect. We didn't always agree. We didn't always understand, but it was amazing. And it is because there was another first that happened this week, and I'll tell you about, but it's because of the sacred rooms, whether on Zoom or in person, the sacred rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, that is a reality in my life. It is because of the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous that I sit here. I woke up at 7:25. It is 8:09 in New Jersey. I'm in New Jersey. I look good. I'm just saying. I look good. I'm not wearing any makeup. My hair is up. I'm 57 years old, and I look good. I am having a cup of coffee, and my first thought when I woke up was, I'm going to go back to sleep after this meeting, and I have to tell you, I'm not. And I don't have to. I don't have to. My friend Liz is here, and she said something the very first time I met her, which made me fall in love with her, which was, I wake up at the time I used to go to sleep, and I go to sleep at the time I used to go out. Now, I go to bed late, and I wake up early or late, but I couldn't wake up. I couldn't function. I couldn't be a part of this world. That's who I was. This weekend, because of the pandemic, I know in some places, and I talk to a lot of people, it feels to me like the pandemic's over, but for me, it doesn't. I'm very, very, very careful. And 11 months ago, I moved from San Francisco, where I had been for 17 years, to New Jersey, where I grew up. And my father left the world 23 days before. I thought he would wait, but he didn't. And that was good. There were reasons. And he actually came to me and revealed it, and I'm grateful for that. But I moved, and so I was very, California, especially the Bay Area, was very strict. And I moved to New Jersey, and it was much more loosey-goosey, but I maintained the very strict parameters of the pandemic. And I have a sponsor who is one of the most amazing individuals that's ever walked the face of this earth. His name is Ralph White. And he was invited to speak at a conference 35 minutes north of me. So I went. I have not been in a room with people more than maybe 5 since March of 2020. and I was in a room with there were a few hundred of people, of us, and a lot of people that I knew and that I hadn't seen, and it was like, water in the desert. It was like water in the desert, and I didn't even know because I really like the Zoom forum, and I really get filled up. And I sat with my sponsor, and he's been my sponsor. He's not a Zoom sponsor. He's been my sponsor for many years. And he was in LA and I was in San Francisco, and I sat with him. I sat with him on Friday, and then I went home Friday, and I went back on Saturday evening because I don't do the Friday-Saturday thing because of the Jewish Sabbath. And then I sat with him last night for hours and hours, and I heard speakers, and I was in a group of people, and I got the energy, and I just need to say it was amazing. It was amazing. I didn't know I missed it, and I know that God will guide me to what I need to do, but I just wanted to say that the isolation has been really hard for me, and I didn't know it because I like it. Which brings me to the end of my drinking, where I was walking down the streets of New York and going and sitting by myself in Central Park and waxing poetic in my journal and thinking I was okay because I could put on a face and be okay with people. I'm not saying that I've been doing that now. I haven't, but I'm just saying that it's just very interesting. These personality traits don't go away. I want to tell you that I've been sober since the 1st of January, 1986. I came into these rooms at 21 years old, broken and wanting to die. My biggest goal in life was I want to be dead by 25 in a flame of glory. I want to be killed. I wanted to be posted across the Daily News, which for anyone knows, or was it the Daily News? I think it was the Daily News, page 6, or it was page 6 in the Post. Wherever page 6 is, I want to be posted. It was kind of like a high-end tabloid, because I was high-end. So I had to be a high-end tabloid, just saying. And that's what I wanted. I'm not going to talk so much about what it was like, but I want to tell you that I come from a family of addicts. My sisters seem to be able to function in life without a 12-step program, regardless of my thoughts about what they need or don't need. My mother functions in this life with a 12-step program. She asked me for help in 1999, and her permanent date of recovery is June 3rd, 1999. And we keep our experiences in the rooms fairly separate, but when we're both in our right minds, our relationship is great, and when we're not, our relationship is terrible. And one of the things that came up for me this weekend talking to my sponsor was I feel, and I didn't realize this, I feel compassion for my mother. Not that I want my mother gone, God forbid, or my father, but I feel compassion for my mother being here in the wake of my father's passing, because my father was like the one. My father was the parent. We adored him. We were daddy's girls. We worshipped him. We loved him so much, and he was so easy, and he was so fun. And she was the other one. And so it's definitely been interesting, and I didn't know that. Why am I telling you that? I didn't know that till Friday, till I was talking to my sponsor, reading him some things I wrote, and talking. I didn't know that, and it gives me different insight in how I can treat this woman, who I made amends to in 1994. I made amends to everyone in my family, and then I made amends to her a year later. And if you do the math, I was sober 7 years by the time I made amends. So I was definitely, I didn't get sober and make amends right away. It took me a while. It took me a while to find the solution. It took me a while. My experience, so the last thing I want to say about that is, when I came into these rooms, I couldn't be around my family. It was really uncomfortable for me. I was in my last year of college, and I'm very, very smart. And I'm not telling you that because I want you to think I'm wonderful. I'm telling you that because it got in my way. I'm very, very smart. I was able to get by with minimal effort. And I just want to say, Young, can you just give me like a 5-minute warning also? I'm looking right at you. So I was able to get by with minimal effort. I was able to do really well, which is not a good thing. It's not a good thing for people like us. And I was very beautiful, and I thought I was fat and ugly, And I go to another program. In fact, my first program was a program for food. In fact, I still think I'm fat and ugly. And I sent Liz a photo of myself last night. I am neither. I'm 57, but I am neither fat nor am I ugly. And it's very interesting how that consumes me. And I grew up in this Orthodox religious Jewish family where my parents, I'm a first generation American on a technicality. My parents came here when they were children, when they were 4 and 5. My whole family came from the Holocaust. My father's family left Poland and went to Israel and came here. My mother's family came from Poland. I grew up with immigrant parents, and I learned how to get over with them, because when you grow up with parents who aren't from that country, it doesn't matter how well they think they know it, they don't. I'm just saying. And I know this because I have other friends who are first generation, and it's a different experience. So you could just, you could get over. And that's what I did. And that's what I did. And I don't think from my earliest memories, but from around 13, I started drinking at 12 and a half because I was bulimic and I wanted to vomit 3 times a day. But from around the age of 13, I remember thinking that all I could see were the rules. I couldn't see any of the beauty at all. And I couldn't see the God memo. I didn't see the God memo. Now, I don't know if this is your first day in Alcoholics Anonymous or if this is your 700,000th day in Alcoholics Anonymous. The reason why I chose 323 was because it said this: more than most people, alcoholics want to know who they are, what this life is about, whether they have a divine origin and an appointed destiny, whether there is a system of cosmic justice and love. In AA, in many religious approaches, alcoholics find a great deal more of what they merely glimpsed and felt while trying to grope their way toward God in alcohol. So I'm here to tell you that I believe and I experience. And hold on one second. I have a bad cat. Can you not do that? Thank you. We have behavioral issues with my fur babies. So I have foxes. Yes, Mike. Oh, it gets better, baby. It gets better. You think that? Ask any of my sponsees or friends. We have ongoing conversations. He was being very bad right then. He had a timeout the other day for bad, and they're 3.5. Call me. We'll talk. So anyway, I contend that we're all looking for God. We're all looking for God. And, it was like that movie in the 70s, looking for Mr. Goodbar, looking for love in all the wrong places. I mean, if you gave me cocaine and you wanted me to sleep with you till the cows come home, then I was convinced that you loved me. Sex was love. And I want to tell you, if I'm going to be really honest, sex wasn't only love when I was drinking. Sex was love for many years sober. This, you don't get, it doesn't all kind of like become clear right away. But I was looking for God. It was a spiritual experience for me to get drunk and do drugs and have random sex with strangers up the subways in New York City. It was a spiritual experience. I got high. I hallucinated. I heard voices, and not the voices that were telling me to buy more shoes, serious voices, and I mean, this is what we're doing. We're looking for it. But then we come into Alcoholics Anonymous and people say, you have to find a power greater than yourself. And they're like, I don't want that. But last night I was at this beautiful meeting and I heard this person share who I know. I know this person for many, many years. He's one of the most beautiful people I've ever known in my life. And he reminded us all in this room that God is gift of desperation. Gift of desperation. And that after that gift of desperation passes, where I come into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, and if you tell me to stand naked in the corner with carrots coming out of my ear, on my head, because that's going to make me better, I'm willing to do it. And when that goes away, how do I get the motivation? How do I get the motivation when life on life terms happen? How do I get the motivation when I feel I'm in the dark and I'm sober? Where does the strength come to believe more deeply? Hold your face up to the light, even though for the moment you do not see. Where does the strength come to trust? How does this work? There's not any other place that I have ever seen, and I have talked to a lot of people. I am well-traveled. I am multilingual. There's not any other place I've ever seen that it's like the Superman telephone box. You know, Superman used to go into the box, Clark Kent, and he used to come out Superman. We go into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, barely able to function. Nobody wants to talk to us. We can't hold down a job, or if we can, we're about to lose it. I was 21 and a half years old. I don't know how long I would have lasted. We were not able to be participating members of society on any level. And we kind of turn around like Superman or like Wonder Woman. I like Wonder Woman better. We turn around and all of a sudden we're in this bright, shiny costume. And we have these bracelets. And we have power. How does that happen? How does that happen? I got your list. How does that happen? So what is that? What is that? My sponsor calls it grace. I call it light. I like words. Leonard Cohen has a song, and in the song or in the poem, it says, there's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Thank God. Thank God my crack on December 31st, 1985 was just big enough that enough light seeped in that on January 1st, 1986, I didn't pick up a drink. I want to tell you I had no intention of getting sober. And I'm going to be completely honest with you. If I knew January 1st, 1986 was going to be the day that I was going to be separated from alcohol forever, I would have drank more on the 31st. Just saying. I would have drank more on the 31st. Because I didn't want to drink on January 1st. I didn't care about January 2nd. But there was enough light that seeped into those cracks that I said, okay, I'll come back. I'd been going to meetings for 4 months by then. I couldn't get it. I was trying desperately to get clean in my other program. You know, I'm an addict of the multiple variety. I binged, I purged, I snorted, I sniffed, I did anything. And I couldn't stop drinking. I was not an alcoholic until you guys told me I was. And even then, I did everything to prove to you that I wasn't. And now it is the biggest badge of honor that I wear in my life. That I am a sober alcoholic. I am a recovered alcoholic, not cured, recovered. And that I am a member of a society that is the most amazing place in the world. No matter where I've gone in my life, it's always been there. I've gone to meetings all over the world. Last night at this conference, they showed this thing. You're going to love this, Bracha. They showed this thing about what exactly happened in the greater AA, greater service well above AA, when the pandemic hit. And that there were thousands of people all around the world. And that when one people were going to sleep, the other was waking up where they were like fixing everything technically. And then there was a huge group of people who were pivotal in creating what we have experienced for the last almost 2 years. And if it wasn't for the last almost 2 years, I wouldn't have Bracha in my life. I wouldn't have someone named Barbara who's waking up at 5 a.m. in California. I wouldn't have Liz in my life. Forgive me, I think I'm saying it, Young or Zhang. Zhang. This gentleman wouldn't have reached out to me, asking me to come, honoring me to come here to speak to you. You're doing me a favor. I'm not doing anything but showing up, Without you, there is no me. That's what Liz Bailey says. Without you, there is no me. And yet here we are. Here we are. And we've all gone into that transformation. And we all come out. And then we have a choice every single day. He's still doing it, by the way. He's still trying to go into the frickin' boxes. Cookies, do not make mommy curse on tape. He's going to make me curse. He is. I'm telling you, There's another word I like. It's a Japanese word. Barbara will pronounce it better. Kintsukuroi. It's actually an art. It's the art of repairing pottery with gold or silver based on the belief that it's more beautiful for having been broken. I don't know about you, but isn't that us? Isn't that us? My brokenness has been the thing that has given me more beauty. inside beauty. It's fine to be an attractive person on the inside. My mother was beautiful. She's 80 now, and she doesn't look the way she looked even when she was 60, but she's still beautiful. I want to be beautiful here. And how do I get that? I came in here wanting. It's not that I came in here wanting it without any work. I did a lot of work. I was desperate. I had nowhere to go. I was going to midnight meetings in New York City, sitting with homeless people. For a person who did the things that I did, I didn't know anybody who was homeless. I grew up in a bubble. 5 minutes, Robi. Thank you, dear. I grew up in a bubble. I grew up in a bubble of life. So I didn't know a lot of things. And I put myself in very dangerous places. And I did very scary things with very scary people. And, what year is it? It's 2021. In 2015, I started going down to Soledad prison, a very high security prison in California for lifers. And they asked me once to speak at their meeting. And I stood up there and I spoke and I looked at them and I said, the only difference between me and you, it's my life, look at him. The only difference between me and you is you got caught. You got caught. I didn't get caught. I didn't murder anyone. I wasn't an accessory to murder, but I could have been. I could have been, and I'm floored. I'm floored all the time. So I didn't come in here and I didn't get it all right away. And I worked the steps every which way but loose. And then someday I was living in Boston and I started working the steps as they're laid out in the Big Book Hyannis method. And that continues to save my life because I continue to work step 10. I continue to take personal inventory. I continue to pray to grow in, wait for it, first understanding and then effectiveness. I continue to be grateful that the problem has been removed based on a spiritual maintenance of my spiritual conditions. And I continue to have experiences when I am not maintaining my spiritual condition of being a crazy person sober. And there is nothing worse than being a crazy person sober. There's nothing worse than being crazy and not having anything to make it go away. And in those desperate, dark moments, and it talks about it on page 55, that deep down in every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God. It may be obscured by circumstance, by worship of other things, but in the last analysis, it may be found. And in the moment when I had my last miscarriage in 2009, in the moment when I called up the therapist and said, I can't get a third divorce. I can't be such a failure. That can't be who I am. In the moment when I buried my second husband, in the moment when my father left this world, in those dark moments where it was me, I felt that there was you. Because you showed up for me, and through you, God showed up. That's how it works for me. That's how it works for me. I have 2 more words I want to share with you. One is ruach. In Hebrew, ruach has 2 meanings. It means wind and it means spirit. And those who are exceptionally close to me know how strongly I feel about those 2 forces and how I find God in the wind. And the last word I want to share with you is an African word, which I've just been introduced to, and it is Ubuntu. And basically it is translated as I am because we are. And it's the belief in a universal bond of sharing that connects all humanity. 35 and a half years ago, I was a lonely girl wanting to die, walking the streets of New York, trying to figure out how I could get the frick out of here. And today I sit before you with not enough gratitude and not enough action that I could do to ever repay this irrepayable debt of life that I continue to be given. It's not that I've been sober a while and I need this less. It's been sober a while and we need this. I've been sober a while and we need this more. Because without you, there is no me. And without God, there is no us. And there is nothing I want more in this life. I am so grateful. I am so blessed, and I'm so honored to continue to walk this path and be a part of this community and this fellowship and this society, and to not work a program, but to live a way of life that has depth and weight and is built on such a strong foundation. Thank you very much.